The fourth and final contender for the spot of my next watch is a very well-rounded watch, a watch for many occasions. It is well suited for elegant occasions as well as sporty occasions. I am talking about the Omega Seamaster Aquaterra. Again, a very legible watch, not much going on the dial, and exactly what I am looking for my next watch. So let's see how it holds up against the other contenders, so namely the Tudor Black Bay 36, the Breitling Chronomat and the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. So let's have a look. Welcome back to the Watch Scientist channel. It's Chris and this is the final episode of my series where I take you on the journey of how I try to decide what my next watch will be. So while watching this, if you enjoy yourself, then don't forget to leave a like, maybe leave some comments down below if you have thoughts, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this. And one last thing, if you like to see different kinds of watches on your Instagram feed besides the everyday mainstream boring shit, then follow us on Instagram. We have been posting more and more lately. We really want to get this account up and going. I feel like Omega really has been back on the rise in the last decade. They have been growing and growing again to retake their spot, let's say, away from Rolex. Because if you remember, back in the day, Omega was the largest and most popular brand of watches in the world. But in the beginning of the 20th century, Rolex has taken that spot away from them, and let's just say they have been really hugging the spot since then. But since in the last few years, Rolex watches have been harder and harder to get your hands on, Omega has slowly been working its way back up, one customer at a time. Today we will have a look at one of Omega's most popular models in the last few years. It sits right in the Seamaster collection, but this is not a diver Seamaster watch. The general case shape and design, as well as the water resistance and of course the name, really shows that this is more of a chill on the boat or the beach and take a few dips in the water kind of watch. Which is totally fine for me. I'm not looking for a dive watch at the moment. I'm really happy with my Steinhardt Ocean GMT. It really does a good job of being my dive watch, even though it's a GMT, but it has 500 meters water resistance, so nothing to worry about with this one. And as you know from the other contenders, I'm looking for a everyday watch, so it should have some water resistant capabilities, but 140 meters that we see in the Seamaster Aquaterra is more than enough. And again, this is a very simple watch. Now you might say that this watch does have a date complication, but to that I can say the same thing as I said to the Breitling Chronomat. Both of these watches have their date complication at 6 o'clock, and I think this is the perfect place for a date window. It keeps the dial nice and symmetric and it doesn't throw off the legibility. And one big thing that has really brought Omega back to the top is the movements they have been putting in their watches recently. They have really been impressing, especially with their master chronometers. So these are watches that have passed the COSC, but on top of that they also certified with METAS. And all in all, their movements in their new watches offer incredible value, especially if you think about the price range Omega is in. And for me, just the icing on the cake is the fact that they have display case backs on almost every of their models. And I have to say, even though it's a type of mass-produced movement, it is quite a beautiful movement. So as you can see, the Omega Aquaterra has a few tricks up its sleeve, and I would say of the lineup of 4 watches I've presented here, it has the best movement with the Oyster Perpetual from Rolex. But the movement is not everything. Of course, I have to like the looks of the watch, and that's where the Aquaterra starts to stumble a little bit. I like Omega's design language in and of itself. I like their lugs and generally the look of their watches. But there's a few details that I don't like. For example, the wave pattern or the wave texture that we see on Seamaster watches. I'm not a particularly big fan of that. The deck motif, like the horizontal stripes that kind of imitate the deck of a yacht. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do like it a little bit. One thing I'm really struggling with the Aquaterra is the arrowhead or minute hand. And this is really confusing to me in the Seamaster line. The hands that Omega uses are quite all over the place. We all know the hands of the regular Seamaster. The type of skeleton hand has been really iconic for this watch. But then if you go to the Planet Ocean, you have arrowheads on both hands, so on the hour and minute hand, which is fine. And then if you go to the heritage models, you have the arrowhead on the hour hand, which is still fine. I think the hour hand can be a little more pronounced. I think that's the most important hand, if that makes any sense. And then here on the Aquaterra, they put the arrowhead on the minute hand, which to me kind of throws this balance off, and I kind of really don't like that about the Aquaterra. But it has a great bracelet and open case back, beautiful polished bezel, and in general the hands and the markers, except for the arrowhead on the minute hand, really make this watch a very legible and very versatile watch, especially if you think about the fact that they have this beautiful kind of woven texture rubber strap. Of course, you can put leather straps on it and natives if you will. The exact reference, I'm not sure yet which one I would go for. The new ones, very similar to the Oyster Perpetual, are just above 5,000 euros. But as Omega is not Rolex, you can easily get an Aquaterra from the secondary market, and I'm sure I could find one that is in great condition for 4,000 euros. And there's quite a few dial variations. I like the black dial a lot. I also like the white and the eggshell dial, and also this kind of gray rhodium colored dial. I think that looks amazing too. And the blue dial is also beautiful in this case. But one last problem I have with an Omega Aquaterra as my next watch, or an Omega of any sort, is that I actually already have 3 Omegas at this point. It is still quite surprising. I actually bought only one, but my dad gave me 2 of his old Omega watches, so I now have 3, and that kind of puts me off the brand for now. I really like Omega actually, but adding another Omega to my collection, I think that would be a little bit too much. And price-wise, the Aquaterra would be kind of in the middle between the Breitling and the Oyster Perpetual in terms of price. And I think for that, I'm not that big of a fan of the design of it. I think the Aquaterra is falling a little short here in terms of what I like design-wise. Again, I have to say, movement-wise, the Omega with the Oyster Perpetual takes the first prize in these 4 watches. But that's it for this episode and this last episode of this series. I will certainly be doing a kind of sum up video where I will let you know which one of the 4 watches I'm going to choose as soon as I have made up my mind about it. And there might be a 5th like secret contender, which I've recently been looking at a lot. I think they offer incredible value, especially if you're looking for a diver. So while I'm not technically looking for a diver, I think I really have to show you guys this watch. And if you are looking for a dive watch, then definitely stay tuned for that video. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment if you have any thoughts about this watch or the other watches that I presented in my other videos, then leave it in the comments down below. And yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. See you next time. Ciao.